Well, hi everybody, welcome back. This is Kim and I'm really glad you're here. Today is going to be a little bit more of a technical discussion versus just a review or how I did on Doordash type of thing. I was really kind of curious because Doordash keeps having all these app problems and the platform keeps going down, and I started to look around on the web and see what I could find about how the back end works and that sort of thing. Anyways, I just read this article and I found it quite interesting and I wanted to share it. I was going to try to pull out bits and pieces, but they've got some good graphics in here and I thought we would just kind of go through it. So before we get started, I want to ask you to please subscribe. That would be fantastic. And put any comments, questions, anything you want to add to the conversation down in the comments below. That would be awesome. Okay, so this is from like a blog post on their engineering portion of the Doordash website. So it's basically how Doordash is scaling its data platform to delight customers and meet our growing demand. Okay, this was back from September 2020, so it's not really up to date, but it kind of explains the way their mindset is and the way they're thinking. So today, many of the fastest growing, most successful companies are data driven. While data often seems like the answer to many businesses' problems, data's challenging nature from its variety of technologies, skill sets, tools, and platforms can be overwhelming and difficult to manage. Very, very true. I'm not going to read the whole thing. Basically, so here's what it says. The data teams need to deliver more and more. Data's complexity and companies' needs increased demand for it can make it challenging to prioritize, scale the team, recruit top talent, control costs, maintain a clear vision, and satisfy internal customers and stakeholders. So they have to navigate all these hurdles in order to deliver a solid, reliable data platform. So they're saying they have to, they're building the infrastructure of the data platform. In this article here, which I also read, which was just very technical, but basically they have scalable data infrastructure that they can leverage for analytics. It makes Doordash makes data-driven decisions about everything from customer incentives to technology vendor choices, etc. So they're saying the first task is to take stock of the data solutions used in the company. This is a chart that I found very interesting. So Maslow's hierarchy of needs is a well-known way to conceptualize how you proceed when you have data and then what you do with it. Basically, it starts down here at the bottom where you observe and collect. So they collect their data, logging, sensors, external data, transactional data. Then after you observe, then you can move. Does this have? Yeah, here we go. Let's see what they say versus what I'm going to tell you. But beginning with the need to collect, which is down here, compute and analyze data for business intelligence needs, growing companies will need to evolve and need to venture into other needs of the pyramid, such as machine learning and artificial intelligence, interfaces, data-driven experiments and analysis. So you basically start at the bottom and you move up, and this is the hierarchy of needs. So you don't start at the beginning and just try something and see if it works. You have to this is a whole process. So they use this process supposedly. As the size and complexity of the businesses increases, the data team's responsibilities will grow and include such tasks as data discovery, lineage, monitoring, storage, optimizations, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so they basically are using the pyramid, but they also use the UDO Loop, which is observe, orient, decide, and act. So this is constantly going on. They're observing, connect to data resources, look for internal and external events, collect feedback, impact on the decisions. Then they orient, build context for decisions needed to be made, orchestrate and predict. Then you decide, use business rules, models to decide on the right course of action based on insight, and then you act. Take actions based on the decision taken. So based on what you decide here, you act on it here. Roll out a feature, experiments that show a lift, whatever. So this is constantly going on. So it says a growing data organization always strives to provide the right solutions to help the growing needs as described in the data needs pyramid. So that's this data needs pyramid. So this is a core to all business decisions, really. So here is how they use the pyramid, okay? They focus on prioritization, figuring out the right things to build with limited resources, scale and complexity, managing data on massive scale for a wide variety of users and different skill sets, control the costs, storage, compute, vendors, licensing costs add up and need to be managed, audience and adoption, knowing who we are and building the solutions for and ensuring data and models can be trusted, establishing a platform strategy and a roadmap, understanding the immediate and long-term data needs of the company, hiring and retaining the right team, strategies for hiring engineers with the skill sets required to implement the solution. So I'm not going to go through detail, but basically this is all happening on the back end. This is all the infrastructure, the decisions on the app, decisions on how their business is going to be run, etc. This is all in the background. So their prioritization, so they're going to figure out right things to build with limited resources, then the scale and complexity from terabytes to petabytes and beyond. So big data is about volume, variety, and velocity. Data organization describe these attributes in terms of millions and billions of messages processes per day, per terabyte, and petabytes of storage in their data storage solutions, blah, blah, blah. So here's about scalability. So scalability is you start at this size and how can you easily grow it without starting over and buying a whole new product, basically. You need to be able to scale it to a larger audience. It's difficult to find a scalable, generalized CDC. I'm not sure what CDC stands for. Solution that meets every need, which aids the overall complexity of building these pipelines. So they have to think of a way. So they have their online data in Apache, and they use Postgres. These are all open source solutions. So they probably have on-site engineers that help set this stuff up and manage it and develop it. So they're basically saying it's hard to find an out-of-the-box solution, so they have to build it. Data collected for observability, such as event logs, metrics, and traces, and another massive contributor to any tech company's data volume. Scalability challenges, the popularity of microservices. Okay, we don't need to read all this. Okay, so cost. With increased scale and complexity, the costs increase. With the growing scale and the need for processing, storing, and analyzing data comes the increasing costs. Increased cost comes from the expenses generalized by the data center or cloud services. They use Amazon Web Services, which is very expensive, as our cloud vendor for EC2 compute resources and other needs. We also use many data vendors to help address some of our data needs. So they're outsourcing. They're not doing it all internally. So this just adds more points of failure. The more different entities you have involved, the more points of failure you're adding into your product. And we know that there's a lot of points of failure because they fail all the time. But I guess I wanted to read this to see how they, redundancy, that sort of thing. I did not find anything about that. But, so anyways, here's your audience and adoption. Who are we building this for and how can we help them? As Doordash grows, we have the number of teams and the various personas that need to access data and insights. The skills that a project engineer has in terms of contributing to or consuming data is very different from that of a data analyst or product manager, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So with a plethora of tools, solution, and technologies, how does a team cope with educating the users of the data ecosystem? Leveraging versus building solutions. So they have a mixture of finding out of the box solutions and then they build their own on top of it. They are... The complexity of the data grew. As Doordash grew, we had to march up the hierarchy of data needs that included the needs for faster, fresher data, near real time. So they're trying to get instantaneous data, machine learning data, experiment analysis, and more. For most companies, cloud providers such as Amazon Web Services, offer a lot of services and products to leverage. In addition, there are many external vendors that can also be leveraged for building out solutions for some of these needs. So basically, there's no one-size-fits-all solution in this case, and each organization should devise a strategy that best fits its needs. So they're going to have to do this themselves. So DoorDash has to hire and retain the right team. Let's see, how do we navigate these challenges at DoorDash? Here are some tips that helped our organization be utilized to help others. So this is, I'm not going to go through this. I don't think it's pertinent. Here's how they decided they build audience personas and cater to their specific needs. So a data platform is a product. It's always best to use the same principle as one would while building a product that would be used inside or out of the company. So they cater to the following personas and skills: product and functional engineers, product manager, business intelligence and data analysts, and data scientists. These are important factors because they consider when building out the solutions offered by a data platform. Our initial team was very technical, but as we grew, the number of users who are not coders increased, and we had to invest more in simpler user interfaces to increase productivity and usability. Another audience are the stakeholders and sponsors of a business unit. The best way to move forward is to ensure a straw man proposal is sent out, feedback obtained and iterated on, and a minimum viable product lined up before more investment is lined up. So then they built the logical framework for how they approach typical problems. So you have to, down here, I found this interesting. Ask the right set of questions while prioritizing what needs to be built. Is this solution meant for products that drive revenue versus products that are experimental? Can the data that is collected be used by multiple teams and uses? What quality and SLA of data do they require? How often will they use this data? Is the data consumed by a program or by humans? How will the data grow? So this is all kind of mumbo jumbo. So here's where it says define a paved path. Often the answer to whether a point solution should be built by the data platform should really be no. If the solution cannot be generalized and adopted by a wider audience, it's best to leave it to the specific team that needs the solution to build it themselves. So that's a good idea. Blah, 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 blah. Build versus buy. So I think they have decided to build their own. They have some infrastructure that they have purchased, but it sounds like they're building most things in-house. And let's see, what else? Where was that other? There's a lot in here. You can come back and read this. I'll put a link to it in my description. But trying to find the there's another whole section that was very interesting. This is just how they pick people. Success of the team. Oh, here we go. So here's the conclusion. This I found interesting. A data platform team is a living organization. It evolves and learns via trial and error, as we have seen. At DoorDash, we have evolved and learned our lessons through the challenges we encountered. DoorDash continues to grow, and we are in many ways still getting started. For example, there's still a lot to accomplish in terms of developer efficiency so that our data analysts and data scientists can obtain the insights they want to gather via real-time data exploration. Our ML models can benefit greatly from the use of real-time features. Our experimentation platform aims not to just run A/B tests reliably and smoothly, but indeed make headway in terms of learning from the experiments already launched and tested via deep statistical and behavioral insights. This is where I think a lot of their problems lie. They are constantly running all these experiments on us and on the app, and I think that's what's crashing. And if they have too much data going in and out of the cloud, that could be where the bottleneck is. I don't really know. Anyways, so here they're looking for people to join them. And yeah, it was interesting to read this. It's a little bit technical, but I encourage you to read the whole thing yourself. I found it very interesting, and it kind of makes me understand why there's so many problems as they're trying to scale and grow and add Like now they're adding all the grocery delivery on top of the food delivery and retail and this and that. They're scaling so fast that I'm not sure their infrastructure can keep up with it. So this was interesting. There's a whole bunch of articles in here. I'm going to spend some time and read some others, but I just wanted to share this because I thought it kind of explained a little bit on the back end thinking that DoorDash has. This was, like I said, back in September 2020, before they started doing grocery and retail and tire stores and all these other things. But anyways, it was interesting, so I thought I'd share it. That's it for today. I hope you're having a great night, great day, making lots of money. See you next time.